What I initially wanted to interpret was the negative aspect of poverty-stricken societies where children have to look after children, and it kind of robs them of their joy, robs them of their own childhoodness. But to my surprise, as I pressed to take the picture, it was the expression on the young girl's face. That's not what she was experiencing. That's not how she portrayed it. She sees herself as a member of that society, and if mom is in the field or papa is in some kind of place looking for a better living for us, I find joy in looking after my little brothers and sisters. What is wrong with that? And this is really the beauty and curse about photography, that sometimes it relies on the viewer's integrity or biasness to interpret what they are seeing. So you might assume danger. The man is an antagonist, the children are the victim, the man is holding a machete, but in reality, the only intruder in that image is me, the photographer. They are actually, it's about 5 a.m. there. Everybody's up. And the man you're seeing in that image, he's holding a machete because he's going to his farm. He's going to work for the day. And the children who look fearful towards him are afraid of his response because they are arguing. They shouldn't be arguing, and they know that an elder who sees us arguing might tell our parents or might reprimand us, so they fear how he will respond to them. In the African culture, when a baby is born, the baby is given more than a name. The name that is given is to depict the history of the tribe where the baby comes from. Hence the reason us Africans have longer names. And this is the reason why my name is André, Percy, Moussa, Didi, Mbangama, Katombe. I was born in the Congo DRC, 1983. But I left, my family and I left for South Africa in 1996, just before the major coup d'etat and where everything really started crumbling down. Yeah, we kind of left already, yes. Yeah. I was invited by an organization, Norwegian NGO organization, Join Good Forces, who were going into the Congo, where they are doing humanitarian work. And I would help to capture some images, storytelling images. After a country has gone through a civil war, yeah, you kind of expect people to be down. You're thinking people really, how do people manage after a war? But to my shock, I was really amazed to see how, yeah, life goes on, and life has been going on. So fair enough, yes, I am Congolese, yeah, but because I have not lived in that country for so long, my mere presence there, people can see that I'm different, yeah. So there's an enthusiasm of the people to kind of want to look at you and kind of approach you, yeah. So a lot of the images, for specifically of that one, I kind of had to wait a little while and let the people on the stage do their thing. And when the crowd was focusing more on the stage, then I kind of gently crawled my way in front of there to take that picture. So what it really encouraged me, or what struck me the most, is the expression, yeah, on the girl holding the microphone on the left. Yeah, she was so passionate, you know, yeah. And she was singing in a language that I don't understand, which is Swahili. Yeah. But somehow I could connect with her to say like, wow, you know, this really means so much to you. You put your left hand on your chest, you close your eyes, and it's like she went somewhere else, yeah. So for me, somehow I wanted my audience, or whoever would see that picture, to kind of feel what the girl was feeling, yeah. So when we talk about people who've been affected by the war, specifically the sexual violence aspect of it, we are usually hypnotized with numbers. 60% of women in Congo, this and that. 80% of children, this and that. I actually had the painful of experience of seeing those women face to face, and it's so heartbreaking. Yeah. So I didn't even know how to frame them in my photos. Yeah. So in order to give them some kind of dignity, I chose to go behind the veil and really take the picture from there. First of all, the motivation was to protect their identity. But secondly, is for the world to also interpret them through that veil, because we can never understand what they have gone through. You can only see in part or imagine the horrible situation that these women had to go through, yeah. And never to assume that you are in their shoes. So I really wanted to create that distance by shooting the lens through a curtain, through a window, yeah. And there is some kind of cross sign when you look at the image, yeah. So that's also maybe a religious interpretation also. But you can also interpret the target sign of a gun. So you have two people aiming at the people. You have the religious people aiming at the people, but you also have the military aspect of it, yeah. But at the end of the day, who has won? So this is on the same day after the church event where the girl is singing. Yeah, so this is a Sunday afternoon around 1 or 2 p.m. So what interests me is as we're walking down, kind of seeing these little boys walking up. Yeah, but I must confess, internally, I had a dialogue with myself. Yeah, because we are living in such a masculinity tense environment, societies. Yeah, so men are really very careful how they portray themselves in public. Yeah, so I was really shocked, and I was reminded, seeing those boys, this is how we grew up. Boys were intimate towards each other. Boys could hug, boys could hold hands. But having grown up in South Africa, my internal conversation kind of changed a little bit, yeah, because in South Africa, men cannot really hold hands. So I was really moved seeing these two boys kind of walking up that street. I'm based now in Oslo, and we traveled to the Congo. So for those of us who are familiar with what's happening in Oslo, there's a lot of reconstruction. They are putting new rails for the tram. So there's a lot of construction everywhere. And it's amazing to see all different industrial equipments that they are using. Some are fancy, some are big, some are little, some are huge. And those are the tools they are using in the Western world to develop themselves. But what was a shock to me, to observe a man in Congo using a hammer and a chisel to dig maybe 13 feet in order to build a construction foundation for a building, to raise a building. And the only tools that he has is a hammer and his chisel. And I wanted really to see that comparison in my own mind of what I observe in Oslo in a construction site and what I am now observing in the Congo in a construction site. And it's really painful. It's really painful, yeah. So this is, it will depend on how you choose to interpret what you are seeing, yeah. For me, what I saw is these are a people who are living really in dire problems. They have issues, there's poverty, there's lack of opportunities, yeah. But what I saw is that a people who kept their head up high, you know. I don't have much, I might be struggling, but I'm not gonna walk in the street putting my head down, you know, yeah. People are clean, people present themselves well in the street. With the image you're seeing right there in particular, this man is standing in the midst of a construction site. There is dust in the hair, there is rubbish all around, but somehow the shoes is still white, it's still clean, and for me it speaks a lot about the determination of the people, that they choose to be positive. They choose to keep their self-pride and walk through their circumstances. Yeah. So it may not be obvious, but if you reflect a bit on what you are seeing, those shoes are definitely, first of all, not women's shoes. Those shoes are oversized. So now, in order for the girl to be able to wear that, she kind of has to tie it up and lace it up all the way up to her legs in order for it to hold. And it's really, I was really angry seeing that, because for a country that is so rich, for a country that is so resourceful, yeah, in 2019, we can still see these images. We can still see people who cannot afford even the basics. Yeah. So really that troubled me. But these are orphanages, kids, like they say. Beggars are not choosers. So whatever they are given, they are grateful and they make it work. So this is how you see that girl making it work, lacing up those shoes so that it doesn't fall off as she walks off. Yeah. And so these are girls who are orphaned, and the shaved heads is because there might be some kind of contamination going around with the girls, with their hair, like lices and stuff. So in order to prevent it, you will cut off the hairs of the kids so that it doesn't move from the next girl to another. Yeah. I think she kind of struck me the most because everybody around her was singing and dancing, but she was just so focused, and she kept focusing on my lens, yeah. So that contrast really struck me, yeah, where everybody was hype and dancing, but she was more reflective, She was like, who are these people? What are they doing here? What are they taking our pictures? What are they going, So it was kind of amazing for me to see a little girl so focused, so in the moment. Yeah. So these are organizations that are trying to help the women by starting small initiatives, startups, as we will call it here in Europe. Yeah. So these are women who come as a corporate, and then they kind of sort out the rice, and they kind of package it in order to sell and make some kind of economy out of that, yeah. But I wanted to kind of not just take a picture of them, but I wanted to also portray how things are imposed on them, yeah. So in the foreground, it's actually a man looking down. And so I shot that picture through her legs, yeah. Just to show really the vulnerability that these women are going through, yeah. The uncertainties that they have when they're in public sites or in private, yeah. Just that aspect of vulnerability that they go through. And seeing that these women in the Congo are going through that, and for me it's just something somehow I wanted the audience who will see those images maybe have an aspect of it, yeah. So this would be our interpretation of young entrepreneurs. They call them the Gaddafi boys, yeah, in relation to the main guy Gaddafi, who was well known for oil. And they are called like that because these are young people who buy petrol for your car, but then they mix it with water in order to add the volume. Yeah. And then they sit next to the roads, because sometimes people can run out of petrol before they get to the filling station. So they would use some of these Gaddafi kids to get their petrol in order to fill up just in time to get to a actual fueling spot in order for them to buy more gas. So, yeah. So I'm actually leaving the Congo. Congo is behind me, and I'm driving to Rwanda, which is the country just besides Congo. Yeah. And for those who have a bit of a background of Congo can appreciate the complexity of this image. Yeah. So you have Rwanda, which is a country that doesn't have resources at all, but yet look how much they've been able to develop. But just like the woman in the far right corner with the umbrella, she's looking at Rwanda and she's kind of amazed. But right behind her is where all the resources has come from and has traveled through that country to build that country. But the very country behind her has not been able to enjoy the benefits of what they have in order to engage themselves. And those of us who have a bit of political background, we do know what is happening. But maybe this is not the platform to discuss it.